We also would like really to hear from you regarding your priority and how the World Bank can help, can support as a partner to Ghana. So essentially. Over the last couple of months since the arrival of the new president, Ajay Banga. So there is a concept that we call now better and bigger World Bank. But we are now focusing on the better bank before actually getting into the bigger bank. So on the better bank, obviously the element of ownership of government, client, partnership with other, complementing the financial assistance that we are providing with the knowledge aspect, because as a global institution, obviously we work with all the country, and this has allowed us actually to gain a lot of experience, etc. And as you mentioned, on the informality aspect, for instance, how we can bring into the economy more resources in making sure that those who are not part of financing the economy do also their part. I think this is an area where we have some experience and some expertise, in particular in African countries as well, because this challenge that Ghana is facing in that area is the same challenge that we do see in Senegal, in Kenya, etc., etc. So happy to bring our department working in that area into the conversation with Ghana and see how we can really widen the resource basis in making sure that the domestic resource mobilization part of financing the economy also increase. On the cocoa, Ghana is one of those countries where we have prepared what we call country climate and development. And we had indeed identified the potential that exists in agriculture sector, in particular the role of the cocoa, but in the same time, what are the challenges that the sector has faced. We have done the Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire together, given the similarity and the complementarity between the two countries. So I think here too, we have some recommendation that the team can certainly discuss with you at some point. And in that regard, see how we can use our existing program, because we have some dedicated program that exists already in Ghana in order to contribute in addressing those challenges that have been mentioned. Energy sector is one that has given us a lot of headache. Yes, I was mentioning to my teams this morning, I will give the floor maybe to Robert and Grover to come in on that, that maybe it would be useful at some point that we have a dedicated session with your administration on that. But let me here seize the opportunity to inform you that the President Ajay Banga and the President Adesina, respectively World Bank and African Development Bank, are convening a head of state summit on energy in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, on January 27 and 28. Wow. Yeah, the 27 will be with the minister, and the 28 is on head of state. So the letter was sent 2 months ago. And I think we would be very honored to have you participating in the discussion. As part of this conversation, we had identified 15 what we call compact countries to prepare their plan, which will make a combination of reform and investment that the World Bank can support. Given the challenges that Ghana was facing on energy, Ghana was not part of the first group of countries, but we have a roadmap that we can allow Ghana to be part of the second group generation of countries that will be built next year. So I think this could really provide an excellent
Okay, we have the letter here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we also would like really to hear from you regarding your priority and how the World Bank can help, can support as a partner to Ghana.
Okay.
So essentially, this is the purpose of this meeting. Thanks again for taking the time to meet with us.
No, thank you very much. I think I'll say a few words, and then after that I'll let her to continue. But we want to thank you for coming to honor us at the inauguration yesterday. I think that it's been a success story for Ghana. This has been the ninth election that we have gone through successfully. There's always been anxiety anytime we're going into elections about election disputes and all that. But as I've always said, Ghana comes through when it matters most, and we've done that successfully. The transition has taken place. It's been smooth, it's been cordial, but there are a few surprises that have come up in respect of the energy sector, in respect of, some aspects of government's decisions and things over the last several years. But I think that Ghana has the human resources to be able to deal with the situation and turn things around as quickly as possible. I use the word, we need a reset. We need to reset this country and put it back on track in terms of economic stability, in terms of governance, and to be able to create jobs for young people, empower women, and also eliminate poverty. So these are some of the priority things we have. And to be able to do this, we must increase investment, we must open Ghana for business again, like I said, and create an atmosphere where people see Ghana as the favored destination for doing business. We used to top on the ease of doing business on the World Bank charts for many years. Unfortunately, we have slid back a bit. I know you've changed the criteria for the ease of doing business, but I think that whatever the criteria is, we must work to make sure that Ghana becomes the favored place for investment. I mean, when I was president the last time, we are easily attracted about $3.3 billion in foreign direct investment every year consistently for the 4 years that I was in office. In the last year, Ghana barely managed a little over $1 billion in foreign direct investment. So it shows exactly what the situation is with the crisis we're going through in the economy. We want to work with the World Bank to turn things around as quickly as possible. The World Bank has been a very good partner, and we work together on many projects. And indeed, in this period of crisis, I think that the World Bank has been one true partner in helping to stabilize things, and we want to continue to work with you to do that. I want to thank Robert and Michelle for, I mean, they're very good friends, and they have gone over and above to, talk with us and let us know what the projects are. Even before the election, they had the generosity to meet with us and walk us through some of the programs that they currently are implementing, so that in the event that we won, we could understand what the previous government had negotiated already. And so we've had several discussions with them, and so we have quite an idea, what the cooperation between the World Bank and Ghana is currently. Some of the areas I think we want to look, of course, the economy. Is the economy stupid? And that is the number one priority. How to stabilize the economy, stabilize the currency, bring inflation down, and restore economic growth. In the last quarter, there was supposed to be a growth of 7%, and the government has been making so much about it. But I think that we're looking for sustainable growth, not a one-off quarterly growth. We want to make sure that that growth is sustainable. And so what kinds of systems we put in place to make sure that we're able to sustain the growth, bring down inflation, stabilize the currency are the most important things that we want to look at. But beyond that, in order to be able to achieve that, we must not look only at the macro, we must also look at the micro. For instance, issues to do with taxation are an important issue because of the IMF program and the targets, revenue to GDP targets. The government has kept imposing new taxes, mostly indirect taxes, We must hit the nail on the head and look at the more difficult issue of bringing more of the informal sector into the tax net. I'm sure there are best practices all over the world where the informal sector is incentivized to come into the tax net and contribute its part to revenue. I always give the example of artisans who come to work in my house. I think I've mentioned it to Robert and Michelle before. And they charge me huge sums of money. I mean, they're repainting my house because I had won the election, and so they came to repaint my house. And when they brought the invoice, it was for 5,000 and something thousand and something. You know, but he's not going to pay any tax on it. So how do we get people like this to come into the tax net? I'm sure that there are ideas that we will work with in future. But two other pillars that generate non-tax revenue are the cocoa industry and then the oil and gas sector. Unfortunately, this government has not been able to add one single drop of oil or gas, cubic meter of gas, to what they inherited from us. And that is for many parochial reasons. You know, the producers in the oil and gas sector have not been happy. Some have been hounded out. He and I went to Cote d'Ivoire for many years, went and invested there and came up with the Baleine field. And that has been at the expense of what they were doing in Ghana, you know. We tied down tallow in litigation over tax, which I thought we could have sat across the table and discussed amicably. Unfortunately, we lost the arbitration and were thrown out. And there are two other aspects of that tax issue that we need to sit with them. And if we can negotiate and agree a mutual agreement, then I think that would be the better option to take. And to encourage as many players in our oil and gas sector as possible, so that we can increase gas production, eliminate the use of crude oil in our electricity generation, and be able to earn some more money in terms of non-tax revenue so that we can balance and stabilize the economy. The cocoa sector was doing very well. Unfortunately, I think the new management that was put in by this government has not been as good, and so we've seen a collapse in cocoa production. Part of it is due to climate change, but part of it is also that the farmers do not receive a fair price for their product, because if the farmers receive a fair price and they have a good income flow from cocoa, they're not going to sell their cocoa farm to somebody to come and cut down the trees and exploit and explore for gold. So those are all things we want to see what reforms we bring into the cocoa sector to cut the size of this humongous state enterprise called Cocoa Board that spends 3.4 billion CDs on itself every year, and the farmers go home empty-handed. And so working together with the World Bank, this is something that we would want to look at. Now, the Achilles heel of Ghana's financial and economic stability is and blow apart everything that we have achieved, you know, in the last few years. And so how we how we change the systems in the energy sector to make sure that we pay down the debt and make it more efficient than it is currently. I was vice president at the time. My president, Professor Atta Mills, signed the MCC. Actually, I signed it, but he initiated the discussions. And when he was ready to sign, I was the one who signed it. And it was meant to improve and make Ghana the most efficient producer of electricity in Africa and become a major hub for electricity exports. Unfortunately, democracy has its dividends, but it also sometimes can be a curse. We left government and a new government took over and took over the Millennium Challenge Compact, mixed up the last segment of it, which was providing efficiency in distribution, billing, metering, and all that. And of course, PDS is history now. But we want to take a look at that again, because if we don't fix the Electricity Company of Ghana, we will continue to have a major problem with our whole power value chain. And so going ahead with privatizing the last point of distribution of electricity to bring in private sector efficiency is something that we want to take up again. We would like to speak with the World Bank to get the expertise to be able to do that.
Okay.
I spoke to the Americans during my last visit to the U.S. We met the Millennium Challenge Corporation, and we asked if it was possible for them to reinstate the $190 million that they had devoted to that aspect of it. And they said the door is not closed. And so we need to pursue that discussion. Or if we don't have access to the 190 million, if the World Bank can support us, to be able to finish that aspect of it so that we can reduce the losses, where it has to do with the IPPs. But in the meantime, what we want to do is to restore some transparency in the system, restore the cash waterfall mechanism so that we stabilize the situation until we're able to carry out all the reforms in that sector. So off the top of my head, these are a few of the pressing issues that we think that we should work with the World Bank on.
Excellent.
So you're welcome again, and thank you for the honor in attending the inauguration.
Excellent. Thank you so very much, Your Excellencies. Those are excellent